First of all, thanks for inviting me. I flew in this afternoon from Portland, Oregon, so I traveled a little ways for it. But I'm from Iowa, so it kind of feels like coming home when I come back into the Midwest. So I'm product manager for iConstruct. I'm not a PowerPoint guy, so you're going to see like 2 slides, and I'm just going to show you the product of what it actually does. But iConstruct is an add-on to Navisworks. We've got, this has been going on for about 8 years now. It's developed down in Australia, and it was developed by an engineering firm, in-house software, and then the local reseller said, hey, we think you got a nice product there, we should team up and rebrand this thing and sell it to the market. So we've really been going heavily here in the past 2 years here in the U.S. and gotten some really good results. Burns and McDonald's, I know a few guys are in here. They're one of my clients here, so you know, we're gradually building up. We have a few resellers around the country. Nothing against resellers, but the issues that we have is that resellers sell Autodesk products, and they've got to concentrate. They got numbers, they got all this stuff. So often it's difficult to be able to get them to concentrate on other ones. So a lot of it's coming from us. But we do have resellers. We'll pass them on to, you know, if you've got a, we don't have any in this area, by the way. So a lot of this stuff is word of mouth, okay? That's what I was driving at here, is that we're driving this thing from people telling other people about it and stuff like that. So iConstruct. So what is iConstruct here? So iConstruct, you got the BIM, you got data model management, construction management, project management, coordination, collaboration, and reporting and communication. So you have your typical CAD stuff, your 3D design. You end up taking that into Navisworks. Now Navisworks is a great tool. But what a lot of people complain about is it's a great tool to bring in, you know, independent files and be able to view all this stuff and do some coordination in it. But you got so much data inside this model that you can't access. Okay? And that's where we come into it. Okay? With iConstruct, you know, we got data management, model management. We take your clash detection and put it on steroids, basically. So if anybody's ever using it with for the clash detection, what I'm about ready to show you will definitely enhance it. So what I'm going to do here, and I apologize, this screen is so small right now on mine, so I've got to adjust this thing. Oops. And I'm getting old, so I got to put on some glasses. All right, so this is Navisworks, and off to the side here, I've got my iConstruct menu. 90% of the people that buy our product, they buy it for clash detection. How many people here are actually using Navisworks? How many are using it for clash detection? Okay. So like I say, 90% of the people that are buying it is because of that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to run a quick little test. Okay, so that's clash detection here. I ran structural versus HVAC. It came up and showed me I've got 432 clashes. It's not a lot. We get clients, it's tens of thousands of clashes. So that's great. That's all Navisworks. It does a good job of that. But what it doesn't do a great job of is helping you manage those clashes, getting reports out of it, things like that. So that's where we take it over. So I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to go to my iConstruct menu, and I have some stuff that I'm going to show you today that just came out last week. So you guys are like the first people that ever see this. So I'm going to go to my standard tools. I'm going to go to Clash Manager. And now my dialog box comes up. It's really huge now. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the test, so structural versus HVAC here. And this is just going to populate the dialog box with all my clashes. So if I expand this out now, you're going to see I've got all my clash names, the status of them, if I have any comments. I have 2 columns here called Clash Instance Count. What this is it's showing me the structural element in this clash is clashing 10 other times, so 11 times in total in the model. The HVAC element in that clash is only 1. So I could actually sort by those if I wanted to. They're showing me this one's 7. So I might want to go and sort out the HVAC elements first. And we also have severity distance there too if I wanted to sort by that. what I want to look at doing is look at other ways to help me sort or group these. So if I right click on any column, I can bring up what's called column chooser. This little dialog box comes up here. I'll just stretch it out. So what you're seeing in this dialog box is every single thing right now inside Navisworks that I can use to help me sort or group my clashes. So there's my CR1, which is my structural element. So I've got category and document and element. As you can see in there, there's a lot of stuff. I'm going to go right on down the bottom here. And this is a multi-level hospital that I'm showing you right now. And I want to look at the grid level at all these clashes, which level they're on. So I'm going to take grid level and I'm going to drop it right there. So now I can see all the levels. Okay? So this is nice. Allows me to see it, but you know, I would rather group them that way. So instead of dropping it there, I'm going to drop it up here. And now instantly it's grouped all my clashes. So there's all the clashes on level 1, there's all my clashes on level 2, and so on. So now I want to break it down even farther. I'm going to say, well, why don't we break it down by the system name now? So I've got level, then system name. So I'm going to take system name here. I'm going to drop it right there. And now I've broken it down by level and system name. Now I could stop right there, or I could keep going. I can keep dragging and dropping these in here. What I'm going to show you, though, is a few things that we've added here over the past year and some just last week. So in my options here, I've got an option here that says skip duplicate clashes. So often when you're getting a clash test, you might get 10,000 clashes, but in the end, you might only really have about 2,000 of them that are any good, or 500 of them that are any good. There's so many repetitive ones. So if I've got a pipe going through a duct, going in one side, out the other, that registers as 2 clashes, when in reality it's really only 1 clash. So if I clicked on that box, that automatically skips those. They group them together for you as 1 clash. Okay. So we added that feature, then we had a client come to us and said, hey Rob, that's great, I love it, but in our situation, our pipe going through the duct has insulation around it, and it also has a center line through it. So now what should only be 1 clash is registering as 6 different clashes. So that option wouldn't work for them. So what we added here was what's called a proximity group field tolerance. And so I could like type in a radius here. So what this does is it creates a sphere. You don't ever see the sphere, but it creates a sphere. The center of the sphere is at the coordinate of the clash. So it's going to create the sphere at a 2-foot radius. Then what's going to happen is any sphere that touches each other automatically gets grouped into 1 clash. So in that situation where he's got the pipe and the insulation stuff, the clashes are basically at the same location, they're just at different parts. So all those spheres would actually be touching each other, so it'd group it into 1. The client that came up with that idea, he said he was spending 2 solid days a week doing clashing. Once we added that feature, it dropped it down to about 3 hours a week. Just because you get so many of these junk clashes that you're spending more time getting rid of junk clashes than you are spending time on the actual real clash. Next thing we just added here last week is this, draw clash icons. And I'm going to say set my radius here to 2 foot. I'm going to go OK here. So what we've done is we get a lot of clients saying to us, hey Rob, we like this, it's great, we like the way you're grouping it, but we still have to kind of fly around our model and look at these clashes and figure out which ones, and we want to group them that way. So what we've done, and this part isn't officially released yet, so in the back here I'm just going to get my model so you can see it. So that's just showing me that floor, or level 2 there. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say clash icons, I'm going to say draw clash spheres. We can now also export these out so you can take them into Revit if you wanted to and see the clash spheres. And we take across the data with it. So you could hover over that sphere and it'll actually tell you the 2 items that are actually clashing. So what I'm going to do here is go draw clash spheres. New dialog box comes up. I usually have 2 screens on here, so let me try to. So this is the dialog box. And so in the background now, you can see all these spheres. And so what I can do is if I hover over one of these, this is the clash information about that. So that's actually what gets attached to that sphere. So what I could do here is I could say, yep, that one, that one, that one, and that one, and that one. I'm going to put it in a group called test group, and I'm going to say auto increment. And so I'm going to go create, They get turned off. I've now created a group and thrown them in there. Oh, hang on, I missed one here, so all I do is highlight that, grab it from the list, and say add it to that one. And then I can spin around and I can come over here and say, oh, yep, I'm going to create a group of these over here. Maybe there's somebody else's, so I'll go here, here, just grab a few of them, and I'll just say create, and it automatically, because I have auto increment on, it automatically created my group number 2 there. So now I'm just going to close out of this, bring this back up, my dialog box, and so if I minimize that, now you can see I've actually created these 2 extra groups here, test group 1 and test group 2. Okay. So like I said, that's just added last week. It's not even in the official release yet, but we do have people that are using it because they love it. So now that I've got that done, I'm going to turn around and pass this back into Navisworks. Right now this is in iConstruct. So I'm just going to right click on the test here. I can create Excel reports. I can create reports, which I'll show you in a moment. We can also create object viewpoints, test viewpoints, and group viewpoints. So I can create all those right here. We can also renumber these things or rename them. What I'm going to do here is go create Clash Detective Group. What this is doing now is going to pass it back into Navisworks. So before I had 400 and some clashes. If I go back over here now, I'm down to 135 clashes. So if I go to my results, there you can see all the different clashes. So they don't say just clash 1, 2, and 3 anymore. It's actually picking up the name of the groups. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change a few of these statuses just to show you some reports that we can do. So I'm going to go active, reviewed, approved. That's good. All right, so now that I've got that, I want to look at some reports. So I'll expand this out and I'll unhide everything. Come back over here to my standard tools. I'm going to go down here to create Clash View Report. I'm going to expand this out. I'm not going to do them all. There's a lot of them in there. I'll just do this one here. And I'll go Clash View Summary. So this is going to create a report here. This report is completely customizable. That's one problem people have with Navisworks. You just get what it gives you. And then they take it into Excel or they do whatever they have to do and they modify it. So in that situation here, I don't know if it looks better on your screen than mine, showing me where the clash is at in elevation, where the clash is at in plan view, and then giving me a detail of the clash itself. We can change any of this stuff. I can take those views off, I can have more views on there, I can make this zoomed in farther, I put all sorts of text on the side, whatever. We've got our own report engine built into it. It's kind of like Crystal reports. So that's one report. I'm going to do another one here. And we'll just grab a few things here. And I'll go Clash Test Summary. So this is going to show you a pie chart. Now this is really popular at the moment. Not so much in this form. This is just showing me how many active or new and stuff like that. But we've got clients that are using it to say, show me all clashes that are over 2 weeks old. Show me clashes that are between 2 weeks and current, and then show me all the current clashes. Then they go into a meeting and say, look at this, we've got 500 clashes that are over 2 weeks old. And then they bring out the next report. Out of those 500, MEP, you own 375 of these, you know. Structural, you own this many. So they can break it down. We can do bar charts, line charts. We've got a client, actually not far from here, I think in St. Louis, that's using line charts, say, showing here's my structural versus HVAC, and I want to map that as the job goes on. So this week, and this week, just so they can see that line, how if it's dropping or not. So that's the clash detection. Like I say, #1 reason why people are buying this product by far. It's just enhancing what they can currently do with Navisworks. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump into what is called Reconstruct. I'm going to open up a different model here. So often you get files from different sources. Okay? You might only be working in Revit, but you're getting files from Tekla or PDMS or whatever it is. And they come in different formats. They look different than your current file. So they're kind of hard to navigate through. This one is a Tekla file. So you can see here it says not in use, undefined, undefined, undefined. And then you've got truss, and it highlights everything. It's a really difficult file to navigate through. So, and then if I expand out truss, then I've got, under that I've got angle, and then it says body. What the heck is body? And then you got to come down here and you got to find out what it is and all that. So what we have is what's called Reconstruct. And so I can reconstruct this file. I'm going to reconstruct this Tekla. And I'm just going to give it a name. I'm just going to go save. So what this is doing is it's exporting this out. Sorry, my mouse is dropping down. It's exporting it out and creating a brand new NWD file. Now, why I'm doing it is I want to restructure the tree. But there's other reasons people do it. We got them so you might actually get a large file, massive big file, and you want to send it out to you guys in the field. Well, it's too big of a file to put on an iPad or whatever. And so what they do, they can select certain things and just export that out using the Reconstruct tool. Autodesk is actually one of our clients. They've actually purchased copies of this to clean up models to go up into Autodesk 360 and stuff like 360 glue, things like that. So I'm going to open up this file now. Now remember this file format here. So if I go over here now and open this file, there it is, one I just created, 129. If I go open, file doesn't look any different. But if I expand this out now, that's the exact same file. All I did was regroup it, saying, hey, put all the beams together. Put all those braces together, all the plates and the posts. I not only grouped them together, if I expand it out, I actually gave them a name. Okay? Before it just said body, okay, which meant nothing to me. Now I could, this still doesn't mean anything to me. I'm not a structural guy, but you know, somebody might be able to look at that now and say, oh, yep, okay, I know what that part is. Otherwise, you're constantly having to go down here into these other tabs. And all I did was just restructure it based off of this tab here. I said group everything by the beam and then give it a name based off of the description. But there's other things people use it for. They also, if you get a file like from an AutoCAD or something like that, and it says it's like a pump, and under that it's got solid, line, all this stuff. I can merge all those together into one part. You know, right now they're broken up into all sorts of different parts. Okay, next thing I'm going to show you is our Integrator. So Reconstruct, not a real sexy tool. Integrator, not either, but they're very integral parts in the product. So if I select this system here at the moment, so that's a system, and it's SA4. Right now I only have two tabs here, Item and Timeliner. Now if I wanted to go in and do my clash detection right now, I actually want to clash the system itself, not each individual parts. I just want to find out, is that system clashing with structural? And so right now it would be very difficult to do because there's no information at the system level. If I go down to each individual part, yes, I have that information there, but there's so many tabs down here. Anybody using Navisworks, you see this, like, oh, you know, often they go to this tab to get some information, then they jump over to another tab. So what we can do is, what's called Integrator, is we can actually create a user-defined tab. And so I just clicked on my integrator here called HVAC. It says one group and 62 items have been mapped. You look at this right here, it says Item and Timeliner. Once I go OK, you got a new tab now called iConstruct Hospital. We just called it that, you can call it whatever you want. But iConstruct now, if I go to that tab, now I've got the system name, the system type, the level, and the work set at the system level. So now I can use this when I'm doing the clash detection. I can say, yeah, I want to clash at the system level, not at the individual parts. And so now I've got all that information. If I go to each individual part now, I also have an iConstruct Hospital tab. I pulled in all this other information on these other tabs. Now there's a lot of reasons why you do that. One, it's a lot easier now. I only have to go to one tab to find all the information I need. I can publish this file, send it off to the owner, and I can eliminate all those other tabs and only export out the one tab. So the owner only has to worry about one thing there. But the other big thing, and this is if you're getting into, anybody work with Kobe data in here? Not many, huh? So this is just an example anyway, but if I go in here to say some lighting, here's some lights. If I click on one of my lights here, You can see I've got an iConstruct hospital tab, and I got an ID, a name, and a category. Now what I want to do is I want to attach a database to this. Now you can attach a database inside Navisworks, but it's a live thing that's going on. It goes pretty slow for some clients when they're doing this. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to take this database, so here I'm going to go data link. I'm just going to attach this database. This is just an Excel spreadsheet. It can be an Access database, it can be a SQL server, whatever. What I'm doing is looking at a column in that database, and if it matches a property in my model, it's going to attach it. So 1,269 entities have been attached. Now if I select one of these lights, you'll now see I've got a supplier and a cost. So I physically wrote that data from the database back into my model. So if you're using things like Kobe data, or just even writing a work set, say you got work set information, I want to write that back into the model so I can use it for timeliner and stuff like that. That's exactly what we're doing here. That's physically in the model now. So if you open this up in Freedom, you know, you're going to see all this data. So that's the data linking. Our next thing, I'm going to unhide all, is color coding. So I've got some structural steel here, and I'm just going to run this color coding. So what this is going to do, same thing like data linking. Looking at a database, it's going to look at certain properties in that database and then turn around and recolor my model here. So there you can see everything that's in red, hasn't even been fabricated yet. Orange, fabricated and shipped, and so on. So it's just looking at a database, Excel, whatever it is. We got clients that are using this, the GCs, that are saying, oh, we got to place an order for all of our doors on our job. Okay, we've got 1,000 doors. They want to make sure they make the order correct. And so they use this and they'll say, okay, let's color all of our walls in the model based on a fire rating, and let's color all of our doors in the model based on a fire rating. There they can instantly say, oh, hang on a second, there's a red wall with a yellow door in there. So they can catch that before they place the order on all these doors. So that's just another example why you would actually use it. There's a lot of tools in here. Next thing I'm going to show you here is audits. So I want to audit my model. So I've got a bunch of HVAC here, and I'm just going to select a bunch of stuff. And so I'm going to come up here to audits, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say I want to isolate all the system names. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And so what it's doing is grabbing all those parts I selected, and if it finds a certain property and that property matches another property in some other part, it's going to create a viewpoint of all those parts. So this is going to take a few seconds, but you'll see why here in a moment, what it's doing. So there's my one viewpoint. If I come over here to save viewpoints now, if I go under audit, there you can see all the different viewpoints that I've created. Some have only got one part in it, and you can see there's a lot of viewpoints. If I come down here, I'm going to grab this one here. So I can see here, this part here, this system is missing a couple elbows. Slide that over a little bit. So it's missing some elbows there. So what I want to do is I want to get a report out of this. So I'm just going to quickly change the color of this. Okay, so I've changed the color, so I want to do a report. So I've come back down to my standard tools, and I'm going to go create view report. It's not a clash view, it's just a view, any kind of view you have. I'm going to go and find this one that I have, 110, when I change the color on. And I'm going to select MEP System Report. And so this is going to be a report similar to a clash view report, so you can still see where the clash is at in elevation, where it's at in plan view, but also it's going to give me a detail of the system, and then it's going to give me quantities of whatever makes up that system. So if I had pipes in there, I can get pipe lengths in it. It's all based off of the view. We read all the data that's actually inside that view. We can get that information. We've recently got a very large electrical contractor here in the U.S. that's purchased this, and we've did some modifications for them to be able to show side view and top view for like an assembly if you're going to go and send it off to manufacturing, and they can get all the parts in. We've actually just added a way to dimension it in here inside Navisworks, so they can just basically generate these reports and send it off to be constructed. Okay, the next thing we've got in here, exporting some data. So I'm going to just hide some stuff here. A whole bunch of doors. I'm just going to go up here to export data, and I've got one set up to say door schedule report. So I export this out. It's just going to create a PDF file for me. But right there you can see what it's done here is broken down by the level, the type of door here, and we got the family, and then how many on each floor. We have clients that are buying this strictly just for this, just being able to say, okay, I've got a bunch of duct. I want to know how much, what's the length of 6-inch duct that I have, how many 6-inch elbows do I have, so on. Just basically taking Navisworks, grabbing anything on screen and hitting the button, and it'll generate your report. Okay. Like I say, this is customizable. This is only, and I'm going to show you what you would get actually out of the box. So a couple other things that we've recently added in the past year or so, as far as we know, we're the only ones out there that can really do it, is we can now create a DWG out of Navisworks. So we can export out anything inside Navisworks, whether it came from Tekla or from any other product. We can turn around and export that out as a DWG, so you can take it into other software. Here recently, and this is the hottest thing other than our clash detection at the moment, is the IFC exporter. Okay, everybody for some reason wants an IFC file. So we can now actually take anything out of Navisworks and export it out as an IFC. So if I just come down here, just going to show you what we've actually done. Let's turn on a couple things in here. So I'm going to look at, first of all, I'm going to show you the DWG. So we can take any part. I'm not going to export it out, I'll just show you here. So I can select the part here. I'm going to come down to General Configuration. So under General Configuration is where you set things up for your, actually, what I'm going to do here, just quickly, I'm going to clear my profile. So I'm clearing the profile. This is what you get out of the box. Anybody buys iConstruct, you only get standard tools and General Configuration. So often people think they got ripped off after watching my demo, and it's like, where's all that other stuff you showed me? Where it's at is right under here, General Configuration, because all that other stuff that I was using was unique to my data set or my company. And so you might want to change, you want it to be unique to yours. So for instance here, I'm going to create a DWG export. So I'm going to come down here to Smart DWG, and I'm just going to give this a name. I'm going to call it DWG Export. I can choose whether I'm going to export out a mesh or a solid. So I'll say let's do a solid. Whether it's going to be imperial metric, imperial. And then down here at the bottom, do you want to keep the data or only the user data? If I say keep data, that's everything inside Navisworks, a lot of information. The keep user data is my unique tab that I created. I only threw on the stuff that I wanted. That's all I want to export also. So I'll just say keep user data, and I can say keep groups, and I can specify a layer 2. I'm just going to save here, and I'm going to go close. And then now, you see here we've got Smart DWG. And so with the Smart sorry, I missed over something I didn't probably tell you about. One thing here, I didn't want that one. I always do that too, it goes so quick. I'm going to load this. I don't want to export out everything that's visible on the screen. I only want to export the stuff that I've selected. Okay? That's all I want to do in that. So I'm going to hit save there, yes, and then close. And so now there's my Smart DWG, and I'll go up here and I'll just go DWG Export. It's going to ask me where I want to put it. I'm going to go save, and it's going to export this out. Close. And so now I can open that up into any AutoCAD product. it actually has X data attached to it. So it's not property data, it's X data. So that X data is often read by FM software, stuff like that. Facilities management, you can take that data in and it knows what it is. So last one I want to show you here in regards to the exporting is our smart IFC. Okay, and this is huge at the moment. I don't know why, but everybody's starting to want IFC files. Basically, I just create a new file here. Let's go here. And actually, this probably, there it goes. So I gave it a new, what I could do is I can refresh this. Okay. And basically, I can take any of the properties. So I have the iConstruct Hospital tab. Yeah, I want to take all those properties across with the IFC file. So I can just drag those into there. So that's going to take across all the iConstruct Hospital stuff. If I wanted to, here you can't see them, but I could say, yeah, the IFC file looks for certain things. I can come down here, yeah, the link on this actually represents the IFC quantity link, or the IFC time, or whatever it is. So we can drag and drop any of that stuff. And last thing here is the options. All you do, we've got all the property, all the IFC components. We built the whole schema into the model. So basically you can go down, so if you're going to export out a pipe, here's a pipe. You can basically just set up a selection set and say this selection set means it's a pipe or it's an elbow or whatever it is. Or search set. You can do a search set, sorry. And you just map them to this thing. That was a pipe fitting. Pipe segment, you'd say, hey, it's a rigid segment or a flexible segment. Just use a search set, and it automatically goes out and exports this out as an IFC file. And I just hit save here, and then you're now going to see when I get out of this dialog box is now I've got Smart IFC. That one isn't officially released as of yet. We're still we had to buy some third-party kind of something to help us get to where we wanted to go, and so we're just working out the contract with them. But we've got clients that are using it. We're just not officially selling it yet. But,
are you going to open up the DWG file? I would like to look at that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me open up AutoCAD here.
Civil 3D.
Slow Civil 3D. All right, so let's see the drawing. Let's go File and Open. Oh, where did I put it? Here. That's the one I think I just did. D. Yep. And so if I come up here now, just go to Realistic and to Isometric. And there it is. So if I type in XD list, if I select that, you'll see all of that.
So if you, is it doing a like triangulation around, let's say it's CAD Mac or CAD Pipe or CAD Duct, whatever, or even QuickPen. Is it triangulating but keeping its...
as a solid, yeah.
Is it keeping like, it's a 2-inch whatever?
Yes.
All in there?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And can I take a look at the layering?
I didn't actually layer that one.
I mean, is it all in one layer?
It is, but you don't have to have it in one layer. I
Okay.
just exported it out. It's probably all as layer 0 probably, yeah. But I mean, I have the ability. I probably have another one there that I exported out. Let's see if this one has got one that I've done. It doesn't look like it. Yeah, but inside, back into here, all I needed to do was say, let's just go, let me just change this.
Oh, okay.
And so I want to actually call it maybe the name on there. So if I come back down to my their Smart DWG, and I'm going to say what I want to use here is iConstruct Hospital, and I want to use the name on that And so what will happen there is it's going to, every time it finds that, it's going to create a layer for that. Or I could use some other property if I wanted to.
Very good.
Yeah.
Great.
There you go, close. Yeah.
Robert, can you talk about the sphere going back into Revit?
So it'll be through IFC. So basically, we bring it in, and then it'll be an entity that you can export out as an IFC and go straight into Revit. And the IFC properties all go, so it takes all that information with
Will
it.
it come in with the different colors based on the new clash, the existing clash?
It doesn't, but my guys are that good. They literally wrote that overnight. We had one client that says, you know, they want to buy it, but we still kind of go around and do this. We threw it together real quick. He's come back to us and added like that where I had the add and the remove, because he's saying, you know, I'm calling the darn thing group, and it keeps creating, it's adding it all to the same one,
Right.
you know, but once my guys made that change, then I saw that, and he's going, oh, he goes, oh, we thought people might like them in Revit, so he done it, but it would be nothing to be able to get that to
Yeah, I think
do
if it went into Revit using the color coding that Navisworks provides,
Yeah,
that would probably be really helpful too, because then you could coordinate with consultants who don't have Navisworks based on the color. You can say, look at the red ones, don't look at the green ones with blue ones.
yeah, yeah,
Because we've done that before with a product. And it's
yeah, I remember that one.
worked well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'll talk to the guys. Like I say, it was just a quick thing to
No, it's
get the
good.
guy to buy it, really.
It's a good feature.
But yeah, our guys are, we've been the longest developer with on Navisworks. We actually were developing on Navisworks before it was Navisworks. So we were release 1. I can't even remember what the product was called back then.
Jetstream.
Yeah, Jetstream. So and even Autodesk are talking to us. They've come pat us on the back. You guys are the best developers on iConstruct, on Navisworks. Because there's not a lot of them out there. I mean, somebody else asked me that earlier today. There's not a lot of add-ons that you can get to go with Navisworks. And like I say, this was developed in-house. This is used every single day by the company that developed it. And so most of the features are in there for them getting their work done. And then we realize, hey, we got this commercial product. So and it's going. I mean, I just noticed we got Kiewit in here. I mean, they're a client down in Texas. Turner's, Fluor's. I mean, we're getting some pretty good companies on board with it. So questions. I got other stuff to show you after this, but questions, anything on what I've shown? Other things that I can't really show you because it's so new and I'm not very good at it. This one, you guys can't even hardly read that. Zone Finder. So we got a Zone Finder configuration in there. So what that does is basically you can actually set up zones in here. So you could take an AutoCAD polyline, you can take an AutoCAD drawing, and we can take that data into here and we can set them up as zones. And so you might say that's zone 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we can attach that zone information to every single part that falls inside that. So you can actually use that for timeliner and stuff like that. So it's basically just take an AutoCAD entity or whatever, we could draw it around there, but it's giving it a name. It might be a work set or something like that. And then we turn around and just attach a new property to every entity that lies inside that. And if it lies within 2 ranges, it attaches a property for both of those ranges. So it says, hey, this pipe, majority of it's in zone 1, but part of it's in zone 2. So then a new property is added, a partial property, zone 2. Okay. So that's Zone Finder. We have ways to be able to label. Like I said, we've got this new auto dimension thing that's going to be coming out too. It's not auto. I don't like the word auto in there. You pick 2 places where you want the dimension to go. But the benefit of that, why we've done it for, and we did it for this electrical contractor, basically is this creates an external file with the dimensions. So we go in there and dimension it up, and then you basically get rid of the dimensions. There's a file there. So then when you create your viewports or viewpoints and generate your reports, the dimensions come into the reports. So because it's looking at an external file, and will automatically draw those dimensions in your report. All right, so questions on anything like that? I've got other stuff to show you after this on something else, but yeah.
On room awareness,
Yep.
it's always been a frustrating thing to find out what room you're in when you're walking around. Do you have anything that enhances that?
That's kind of what we're going to be doing with the Zone Finder. Because that's one thing they're saying. It's like, hang on a second, if you've got a room, we got a room like a floor or whatever, but other stuff, we can attach that property to every single thing that's inside that area. Okay, so that's kind of the idea with the zone finder.
You're gonna like walk around your property and say what room I'm in.
Yeah, I would think so, because that's, I mean, if you want that, I mean, that's basically, you would say, you know, maybe your zones are all set up as rooms, because they're looking at just taking the stuff out of Revit. So if you've got a Revit room, we can take that in there and then say, okay, hey, those are all different zones, those rooms, and now can you attach that room property to every single thing that lies within that room? Yeah, so that's what Zone Finder will eventually do. Yeah.
Whatever changes you guys make with the tabs there, will it be like an update or after?
With this stuff here, what do you mean? Like we add more stuff?
Yeah.
Well, we have a subscription just like Autodesk does. So a standalone price of this is $3,000. A network copy's $4,000, and the subscription is $750 a year. Okay, so for that, yeah. But I mean, we come out with 2 releases a year, basically. But then we come out with what we call point releases with new features like this. The reason why we call them point releases is we have no documentation yet. We're just building them real quick for a client. It's ready if anybody wants to use it, but there's no help file on it. There's no videos on it. There's nothing like that. It's just, it's there, but we're not advertising it until it actually goes into a full release. Okay? But we're always wanting ideas. Like I say, a lot of the stuff that we're doing, the clash detection, for instance, I started on board with these guys a couple years ago, and we didn't have a lot of clients in the U.S. But like I said, 90% of all clients are buying it because of clash detection. So I'm getting tons of feedback. Oh, remove the duplicate clashes. Their clients down in Australia weren't really using the clash detection. It wasn't a big deal to them, so they weren't getting feedback from people. Or that's all I'm getting most of the time, feedback for that, or maybe a Reconstruct or a different kind of report, things like that. And so we'll always add it. And actually, I got one for Casey that he'd been asking me for, and I'll get these guys onto it. But yeah, it's, you know, we're always looking for ideas. Yeah.
How about the ability to refresh a particular model, as opposed to deleting it and then reloading it? Just the ability to just hit refresh on just one model as opposed to the whole multiple models.
I don't have anything, but I mean, I don't see why that wouldn't be too difficult to actually do. So just almost just the one, just find the one model and
just refresh that
yeah.
one.
Okay. Yeah, I can look into that. Yeah. I'm not a Navisworks expert either, so I don't know if it's, you know, if somebody knows a better way to do it already. But yeah, no, I can. Yeah, we can look at that.
How many users does the network license support?
You can put it on as many computers you want, but only one person can use it at a time.
Okay, so it's, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah. So it's similar to the Autodesk products. That's how it
Okay.
works. So, but you know, we're not Autodesk either, so you know, we can do stuff with you and you know, so like if you're looking at multiple licenses and stuff like that, just let us know.
Okay.
You know? And even that, I like to say, imagine it's not our reseller. I've got people that aren't our resellers that'll sell it. So if you guys deal with these guys, you call them up. I'll give him my card. You know, it doesn't have to come through me. If you feel more comfortable dealing with somebody in your local area, you know, they don't have to be a reseller of ours either. So if we've got people sourcing it from us from other that didn't want to become a reseller but wouldn't mind sourcing it on an occasional basis. So,
And how's that work? I mean, I'm kind of curious about that.
Well,
So what you're saying, typically I go to my reseller
Yep.
to get my software, right?
Yep.
So we recently signed a strategic agreement with a reseller here locally,
Yep.
CAD.
Yep.
We provide a service they don't, okay? But we've been known to sell and train on software, but we also have these boundaries we shouldn't cross within that agreement.
Mm-hmm.
So, based on what I'm hearing, if we would like to expose other people to this, we could become what I would call maybe a reseller?
Well, I mean, like I say, we've got a few official resellers and stuff like that. It's just like what I've had is I had a client up in Minnesota, I had this, you know, typically they're resellers that have done it and said, hey, you know,
Okay.
they want to buy through their reseller. You know, you guys deal with them, you like that one point of contact, I don't want to have to go out here and all this kind of stuff. So if you really had a reseller that you'd like to deal with and stuff like that, by all means, you know, they could source it through me or whatever. I'm the main guy for it here in the States, so you know, we can give them a commission and they sell it to you. But
So what we should do is then lead them to you And then you would fall under their side of the boundaries as a reseller.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm always looking for resellers, so.
Okay.
But like I say, it's just the biggest thing. It's like, I worked for resale. I owned a resellership for many years. Our biggest issue we've always had, and we've got quite a few, is that resellers, or typically the Autodesk resellers, they've got so much pressure on them from Autodesk to do stuff. So
Yeah.
we have a difficult time unless they dedicate one person saying, you're the head of this product. It's difficult for us to get much out of them. So we sell a lot more direct to clients because we don't have, you know, the resellers haven't put people on saying, yep, you're the main guy on
Right.
this. So,
Right. I get it.
but we had a reseller before I came on board. I'm not going to mention the reseller. They had exclusive throughout the United States for 2 years. They sold one copy in 2 years and finally said, no, they don't think there's much of a market for it. And since then, since I've taken it over, and because they'd never had anybody dedicated to it.
Right.
They had it, they were exclusive to it, but no one was asking about it. We got to get the word out. That's why I flew down here to get this word out.
Where are you guys based out of?
I'm based in Washington State, but all my development team is in Brisbane, Australia, and Perth.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
This iConstruct, it works for DWD and Revit. Revit, those are Autodesk products.
Yes.
And does this iConstruct works for Bentley products also?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we can't export out a Bentley product, but you can bring Bentley into Navisworks or whatever, and we can export out a Bentley DDG in or whatever it might be. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You guys pull, can you, I know in Navisworks you can now import PDF files,
Mm-hmm.
sheets from the set, the construction set. Can you pull information from those, or?
Not right now. We may look at something like that. I mean, probably our biggest concentration is Autodesk. Everything's going to the cloud and stuff like that, and point clouds and stuff like that. We don't do anything on that at the moment. And Autodesk are kind of putting pressure on us to kind of do something, because a lot of people are using our tools. They want those people using our tools up on their product, up on the web. So, but like I say, if it's not, I mean, I talk to my guys, and if they think, oh yeah, that'd be pretty simple to do and stuff like that. Like we could create a PDF out of this, but we think, well, why should we do it? You know, you've got the Blue Beam out there. There's
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't be
yeah.
concerned with that. I'd be more like picking quantities out of the model, and I want to get some stuff that maybe just detailed on the drawings and not in the model.
Yeah, yeah, and like I say, we could discuss it. We just try to work hand in hand with Autodesk at the same time, so we don't want to do something they're doing or they're, you know, and they do talk to us about what we're doing and stuff like that. So there's no overlap. We don't want to reinvent the wheel if they're already doing it.
Hey Rob,
Yeah.
in Navisworks 2015, you can open PDF, 2D PDF files.
Hmm. Yeah, he's wanting to try to get the quantities out of it. Kind of like the quantification one, you can kind of take a drawing and go over that. I know what you're talking about, but at this point, no. Yeah. Anybody, other questions?
Jason, Jim?
I got one.
Yeah.
Just forgot what it was. Oh, no, it was. Virtual environment. Have you had any success putting this on a virtual platform where a company could access it?
I'm going to say no, but, and it's not, it's more so our licensing.
Okay.
Now, I had an issue with a client just last week, was trying, and he kept getting this error saying something like virtual environment or something like that. So my guy said, well, he's trying to license it on a virtual environment. You can't do that. So I went back to him and said, you can't license it on a virtual environment, but you should be able to use it on a virtual environment.
Okay.
But no. And so then I went, he goes, nope, that still doesn't work or whatever, so I didn't know what the heck was going on. Well, he was actually using a Mac, and it was that. And so my guys actually generated him a license that would work in the virtual environment. So I'm not saying we can, because I don't really know what the heck they did, but the guy came back and said, yep, it's all working great now. So
Okay.
I don't know much about virtual environments, so I don't know if like what we did for that machine is similar, the same.
Okay. No, it's just a question.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
On the properties that you generate under the iConstruct, like you have under the iConstruct hospital,
Yep.
does Timeliner and the other pieces of Navis read that information as well?
Yeah, it's in there. It's in the model. It's physically in the model. Yep. We do that, like I say, our guys down there, we've got a BIM division that actually does BIM work in real life, not just developing software and stuff. And so they're using that, writing in properties from a database, like a work set and all that kind of stuff. So then they can use in Timeliner and all that. So yeah. But that's the difference between what the Navisworks data linking does and ours. The Navisworks one, you're kind of going back and looking at the database. You're not physically writing it into the model like we are. Yeah.
Yes? You know, I work on two sides of the fence for me. Either the design teams or the construction teams.
Yep.
Who's picking this up more, the construction side or the design side?
I would say more the construction side.
Okay.
But it's not, I mean, it's not like by a wide margin or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, basically anybody that's using Navisworks, they realize, you know, they got Navisworks, they use it for clash detection. Anybody's using clash detection, boom, they look at buying it. But then once they got it, they realize, shoot, I can get reports out of this, I can get quantities out of this.
Right. Yeah. I mean, here locally, the typical deliverable is going to be a PDF.
Yeah.
You hope to get a 2D CAD file, and it's hard to get the 3D Revit files.
Yeah.
So I would venture to say locally it'd probably be the construction side.
Yeah.
I can see a lot of value to that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the DWG when it came out. Clients would call us, "Oh man, you're sitting on a gold mine." It's like, really? Is it that big of a deal?
It is that big of a deal.
Yeah, because we get the data, but we don't have the. We want to take it back into CAD and maybe dimension it up or do something else with it, but we don't have the actual data that we can take back into CAD. They've given us an NWD or whatever. I can't do much with that.
You know, that's one of my biggest complaints. I go to all these, I'm a BIM manager for
Yep.
construction, but when I get to the table, people want to deliver NWD files or NWC because they're so light.
Yeah.
But the guy at the end of the table, who is a fire sprinkler, cannot do an XREF with that. And he doesn't have full-blown Navig. But they don't understand the full workflow. If you can do an XREF, you can work around and get these solutions quicker. You give me NWD, I'm not dead in the water.
Yeah.
So I see the tremendous value of that.
Yeah. Any other questions? All right, I'm going to quickly show you something else. I got about 10 minutes, right? Got to be out of here at 7. All right, so in Revit, I own a software company called CGS. So we develop tools for Revit and Civil 3D, and we develop for Autodesk some of the stuff in there. We do other stuff, but this is probably the main thing that we're doing right now. Nice, Jason Gardner back there is one of our clients. Why I wanted to show you this, and I'm not here to, well, I am peddling it, but you guys are going to be the first one, okay? What we've started, today is the launch of it. We're doing the Revit user group toolbar. Okay, one person in this class, Jason's already got some already, so not. But one person in this class, I want to pick. Well, I'll have somebody pick anyway. It doesn't have to be right now, but I'll show you quickly on the tools. But this is our Revit user group toolbar. So what we're going to be doing this. I'm traveling around the country. You guys are going to be the first one. These are mock ones right now, but. I got to put Kansas. It's Kansas City, cheapers. But what we're going to do here is we're going to start creating tools, and they're going to have your user group stuff on the bottom. So when anybody buys our tools and they hover over any tool, it's going to give them a quick little description of what it is, and then it's going to expand out, giving you a little information about your user group and the person and their company, if they want it. If you don't want it on there, that's fine. I put Jason's on there. I didn't actually ask him to do it, but it's not officially going out to anybody either. So, that's what we're doing is we're trying to get. One thing about our tools are a little bit different than others or whatever is that we're not worried about individual users. Okay, we're worried about companies. You know, we were getting people that wanted to buy our software. We used to sell for like $295 a license or whatever. And then somebody would call and say, hey, I want 50 copies. How much is it? And you tell them, and then they call me back the next day or whatever, I'll buy one. You know, the price was scaring them away once they started looking in bulk. So we changed the way we do things, and we're more worried about companies. You know, we would like to have a whole bunch of companies out there spreading the word for it and stuff like that. So So here's a bunch of our tools in here, and I'll show you a couple little things in here, but it's a huge suite of tools. Like I say, Jason is one of our biggest proponents of it. They bought 250 copies of it here recently. We sell these in bundles, so you can buy a single, a 10-pack, a 50-pack, or a 250-pack. Okay? And you get everything with it. So I'll just show a couple little things in here because I know I'm running out of time here. We've got some exporting out families, so you can export out things that you currently have in your model. Okay? Export them out to a certain location. And you can also turn around and then go and import those back in. Not a lot to it. Project cleanup. Okay, so these are pretty popular right now. Some big cleanup tools in here. Clean up views and line types and dimensions and all that kind of stuff. We also have a multi-type editor. We were looking at getting rid of that, but I think you like that, don't you? Yeah, so
Show that.
so multi-type editor in here. So like if I come down here to say floors, I might want to grab a few floors, and I can go through and just make a quick change and just put it on there, and instead of having to go through each individual one. But we are looking, Jason wants to be able to pick other things, not just floors, or different types of floors, yeah. Probably the big one here is we got what's called BIM query. Okay, ours is a little bit different than others that are out there or whatever. They'll editing your model with an Excel spreadsheet. So for instance here, I don't have to take it out to Excel, just do it right in here. So I can go in and say, yeah, I want to look at editing all my windows. So I grab my windows. I don't want to see all the properties. I just want certain ones. I'll just go down here, materials. I just want to change the material on my windows. And so there it's come up with all that data. And so I could just go in here, go drop down. I want them all to be steel. Come over here to this one. Change that to steel. Drop that down and just go apply and close, and now I've just changed all my windows so they're steel. We've got text align tools in here, just different ways to align text. I never realized I'm not a Revit guy, I'm a civil guy, so
That
sorry.
also does tags.
What's that?
It also does tags.
Yeah. So we can line up things there. We've got ways to be able to renumber rooms, renumber doors, all this stuff. Legends are probably a really big one for us. A lot of people like our legends. Basically, I just go in here and create a view. Where's it at? I don't know, little icons. There it is. Create a legend view, and then I go and insert a, annotate a component with a legend in here. Doesn't matter what I put in. And now I can just come up to our tools and go legend by category. Say, what do I want? I'm going to do a horizontal table with floor plan of the furniture, and I want to put all those properties into the legend. And I just go OK. There, it creates it up. I don't like it. Don't like the way it looks. I'm going to change it. Let's go with a elevation left. Change it like that, or you can go back and change it to a vertical table if I wanted to. We did find out that clients now, you can actually create these in advance, so have it in your template. And so then when you start creating your model, all you have to do is go into that view and just hit that button, and it'll automatically update your table.
Can you do detail components now?
What's that?
Can you do detail components?
I don't know. Gotta ask Evo on that. Yeah. We've got multi-join. I mean, I'm just pointing out these because I don't want to take up much of your time here. But renaming grids, adding floors to rooms. We can create assemblies. Basically, what that do is I can select anything and I can create a sheet, and it'll give me the different views that I want. Ways to turn things on and off. You like the resize box. So here's a 3D model in here. I can come in here to go my resize section box, and I can go in and say, yeah, I just want to zoom to that kitchen and dining or something and apply section box, and then I just only go into that. Or maybe I want a few of them in here, and I'll go apply section box.
Does that feature take some setup to do that, or it's all extracting from the Revit?
All extracted from Revit.
That's a good one.
Yep. This one here is really just, if I go back in here, just going back in here, just turning things on and off. I don't want to see any doors. I've just turned off the doors and I'm going to turn them back on. I mean, it's not a lot to it. They're not big tools. They're just little things, hopefully make your life a little bit easier. We've got the filter command. If you ever get a drawing in your Revit model and you can't find the darn thing, it's sitting there floating out there, I just go to filter and you can go in here and you can find anything. And so, oh, hang on, there's a drawing in this model here. I go, okay, I can't see it, but if I hit delete and go back to my filter, and that drawing will now be gone. Okay, so I can select doors or anything. So we got a tool in there, view depth override. I don't have the latest one on here, but this is kind of like the architectural desktop thing, where you can actually set different depths for, you know, the colors, how it's going to look, and then we've also added the line types. Have you got that one with the line types on it? I don't. I thought I did, but that. And, I mean, there's still more to it. We've also got what's called a content administration kit, where you got your shared parameter manager, a parameter manager. I'm not an expert in this stuff. Do you know much about it there, Jason?
So the parameter manager was really interesting because we were able to push about 35 shared parameters into the project and pre-assign where they went to in about 30 seconds, whereas that would have taken about an hour, hour and a half to manually push all the shared parameters into the project and set them what they needed to go to and turn on all the boxes. It was really, really fast.
Yeah, and there's a lot more that was, you know, I just saw my lead developer's ribbon today or yesterday, and he's got a lot more on there than I do. So I know he's got some stuff that he's been working on and that'll be coming out soon. But the idea behind our tools anyway is that we try to come out with a new tool every month or every other month, okay? The cost on them is a yearly fee. It's a rental thing because you get all the new tools as they come out. So if you're ever in the product here, you just go to the About page and it'll actually tell you whether you've got the latest version or not, if there's a new tool available, and you just automatically get it. And we try to notify everybody when a new tool is out. It's something we're working on getting better at. But we're always wanting ideas. Always wanting ideas, and so I do really, like I say, I am going to do this, and I'll work with the user group thing here, and we'll be able to pick somebody from whoever was in this class here. If you don't want to participate in it, I'm not expecting you to buy it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm doing this, trying to go around the country doing this, and hopefully people start inviting us to their user groups is what I want, instead of me having to knock on everybody's door to get invited. So ideally, I want them to say, hey, can we be the next on the list? And so we get a tool in there. So all I would do is just get you in touch. You come up with an idea. I work with my developer. If he thinks it'll work, we'll develop it, and then you'll get a copy of it anyway. So whoever comes up with the idea will automatically get a copy of the tools, just for giving us the idea. And then if you want your mugshot on there, or at least a little bio of this user group would be good. But hopefully by the end of the year, that's pretty full there with user groups from around the country. So you guys will be the first. Questions? Yes?
You got anything from pushing and pulling data between multiple models? Say I want to change the same property in every single model. I got 30 models. I think they got to open up all those models. Anyway.
Do we? He knows, but I'm not a Revit guy. He knows.
Well, hold on. Are they all linked together?
No, I'm saying 30 structural models, 30 architectural models for one site.
I don't think it does it, but you might be able to use the query tool if they were all linked together, potentially.
For
instance, I know we can pull.
Yeah.
I mean, say I want to just reload a border in all my files. I mean, I got to open up every single Revit file to reload a border.
And just to push it in?
Yeah.
I think Evo did say there was a way to push a family to multiple files at the same time.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll give you guys cards up here anyway. I've got cards for both companies. Fortunately, I got 2 companies. So. And I have some brochures too for anybody leaves on everything. And but any other questions on this? Because I don't want to keep you guys longer than that. Yes.
For students and instructors, those Autodesk products, we get academic version free.
Yep.
To learn. How about iConstruct?
iConstruct, we will give. We'll work out some with the school. Definitely, we can get you some copies of that. I don't know, we haven't worked out whether we're giving student copies yet, but definitely institution. I think right now it's like 5 or 10 or something like that. So we'll do that. The Revit tools, absolutely. University can have as many copies as you want, and students can have free copies. That's not a problem at all. I own the company, so I can do that. I don't own the other ones. So. Yeah, so definitely drop me an email on that one. Yeah. Any other questions? Well, great. Well, thank you for inviting me. I'll get some information over here if anybody wants some brochures or anything.